This is a News 4 special presentation.
A long time ago in Africa, these orphans had no one to love them. Their story is hardly a fairy tale, but like a fairy tale, 40 years later, it has a happy ending. It all began when a U.S. soldier's tour of duty led him to Eastern Africa, a place known for its breathtaking scenery and wildlife. But most people in this part of the world are too overwhelmed to notice. Extreme poverty, poor health care, and AIDS force most Africans to live for the day. This is the place that changed a U.S. soldier from Colorado. He and his wife then changed one of the most remote parts of the world into a place of hope. We fly halfway around the world to Kenya, East Africa, more than 8,000 miles from Denver.
Why don't we go for a while and we'll change? We'll see who the best driver is.
From Nairobi, it's a 14-hour drive on roads that barely qualify to be called them. Only the locals know how to negotiate through these parts, through some of Kenya's most violent weather. We get a break in the weather, and a brilliant rainbow leads us to our destination, a place the Africans call Lalamba, meaning a place of hope, on the shores of Lake Victoria. In what feels like the middle of nowhere, Marty and Hugh see them first.
Hello, how are you?
Children, dozens of them.
You are so big.
They welcome Marty and Hugh Downey of Denver home.
It kind of brings, a sense of pride. Tears to your eyes to know that these kids are well cared for and they have a chance.
We are happy, happy to see you again. We are happy, happy to see you again.
They're my kids. This is my family.
To see you again. We are happy to see you again.
Kenneth, turn around here. What do you see here?
Hugh knows each child by name.
I see a teacher.
In each face,
Airplane engineer. Yeah.
he sees a future.
This is the president of Kenya.
And President
Yeah.
And perhaps more importantly, these children see it too.
I'm going to tell you very secretly, right?
To Kenneth O'Moody, Marty and Hugh are mom and dad.
I take them as my parents, because the care of mine that they take is just the same of as if my parents could have taken. Yes.
Hello, sweetheart. Hello.
Over the years, the Kenyan government has given Marty and Hugh full responsibility of Kenneth and hundreds of other orphans like him.
But until I hope God will bless them a lot for what they have done to the Africans.
The Downeys decided on this remote corner of the world because they love children, and three other important reasons.
They had the highest infant mortality rate, and they had the lowest literacy rate in the country. And there was no development here.
Plus, it's estimated 1 in 7 adult Kenyans is infected with HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. The result is 1 million parentless children.
Africa is becoming a continent of children. It's not unusual to see an 8-year-old responsible for his brothers and sisters. Their parents are gone. AIDS and a mediocre healthcare system continue to wipe out the adult population here.
But Hugh knows from experience that simple acts set in motion today will go on for future generations.
It's all where you put your values. It depends on what's important to you in life. And to us, personally, nothing's more important than children.
He is almost like a farmer, planting seeds of hope.
These children can grow up to make an impact on their culture. These children over here, these are the teachers. These are the educators. These are the healthcare workers. These are the farmers. These are the fishermen. No, I don't see them much different than I did 40 years ago.
Using only private donations from Colorado, the Downeys have changed the course of a country. They transformed a once barren field along Lake Victoria into a medical clinic and children's home for orphans.
How many children can sleep in one tukul?
In boys' room, there are 4 kids, and the other side also 4 kids.
The children sleep under mosquito nets to protect them from malaria, the #1 killer in the developing world. The children eat beans, rice, flatbread, and kale.
It's amazing. Some of these kids come in here and they're little and they're scrawny and they haven't had much to eat all their life, and a year later you come back and you say, is that the same kid, you know?
Peppers.
They use newspaper to cut patterns for clothing.
He only has 3 legs. What kind of a cow is this?
Hugh and Marty hand out prizes for creative handmade toys.
Group number 4, yes. Thank you.
24 children live at this home, where Lalamba pays for their medical care and education.
They give me clothes, they pay school fee, school uniforms, and everything in my life.
Why?
I don't know. God knows.
We are marching in the light of God. We are marching in the light of God.
Lalamba's care reaches 500 other orphans in the region. At least once a year, all of Marty and Hugh's children gather for a big party.
It is impossible to estimate how many children the Downies and the Lalamba Association have embraced throughout this region. Some of these children walked 2-3 hours to be here today in Kenya, but this is just a small part of Lalamba. The Downies have also set up children's homes and medical facilities in Eritrea and Ethiopia.
All right.
It's a chance to be a child in a part of the world where children rarely get that opportunity.
They're allowed to be children for the first time in their lives.
Thanks to a Colorado couple who brought salvation to a corner of the world that only knew despair.
There's no explanation why an army soldier would get distracted by a child's needs. Mongooses come in here.
Yes, the ringtail mongoose.
You might say the 60-year-old never really left his tour of duty. For the last 40 years, he and his wife have lived double lives.
This is our home sweet home in Kenya.
For 6 months, they share a grass tukul hut with a family of bats in Africa.
This is one of my favorite pictures of Michaela and Karen, this one here.
The rest of the year, they live just outside of Denver, where they raised 2 children of their own.
You know, everybody's got their superheroes. You got Spider-Man, Superman, and I had the same superheroes when I was growing up, but the older I get, the more I think of my parents, wow, they are really superheroes.
He's on the camel and the other kids are...
Mikhail is a 32-year-old staff sergeant stationed in Saudi Arabia.
Look at him.
Karen is a 29-year-old social worker who feels part of this extended family.
I see these kids who needed family, they needed parents, they needed a sense of belonging, and they've never had that until we came along, and Lamba and these mamas and all these people came together as a village, and they created their own family.
The Downies have inspired hundreds of volunteers to help them raise their ever-growing family. A Colorado grandmother heads to a place of hope next.
I wanted to do this since I was 9 years old.
Terry Thompson is about to embark on the journey of a lifetime.
I think I'm going to have the time of my life.
This registered nurse was married for 21 years.
This is Tyler Thompson. He's my grandson. He's number 5 of 7.
And he's going to be 2 years older when you see him
That's
next
right.
time,
He
Grandma.
will be.
She raised 4 boys, who are now raising their own boys.
Don't you, Ty?
But something was missing in this 56-year-old's life.
I'm just overwhelmed, honestly. I just have to pinch myself. I can hardly believe it. Benadryl is always good for allergic reactions.
So she packs 2 years into 2 suitcases and plans to find comfort in a quilt hand-stitched by the people she loves.
No disaster can overtake you. No plague come near your tent. He will put you in his angel's charge to guard you wherever you go. What I want to show you here are my grandchildren's handprints.
A year later, we find Terry and her now worn quilt in Kenya.
Several times a week I go over this quilt.
Are you having the time of your life?
I am having the time of my life. When I first got here, I focused a lot on the differences, and quickly it became all the similarities.
She is 30 pounds lighter, but feels the weight of the world in every orphan she meets.
This is a mama that found this young boy as an abandoned baby. Now, she had her first baby in 1935, so she's probably at least 80 years old, and she's raising this orphan, this young boy, on her own.
16 years of nursing never prepared Terry for this kind of work.
As soon as their hip is big enough to put a baby on it, usually somebody has a baby on their hip.
For 2 years, she will identify and treat the most desperate children in one of the most remote parts of Eastern Africa.
When we see these little bellies hanging out, that's what it is. So we just say, ooh, they got a belly full of worms, and we give them a dose of this medicine, and it lasts for quite a while.
Terry makes it her mission to keep hundreds of children healthy by meeting their medical needs. After all, she came all this way to learn children are the same everywhere.
They are, except that you don't see them lining up for worm medicine in Arvada.
Terry comes armed with medicine to kill worms.
It's their favorite candy, and they call it Tom Tom.
And candy to calm fears of mazungas. That's Luo for white people.
So what we have are a lot of small children and a lot of grandmas, and nothing in between. So
Terry Thompson is filling that gap in these little lives, and hers too. It doesn't matter to Terry if these children ever remember she was here. That's not why Terry made the trip.
There are times when I think of leaving here, I get really teary. I have some friends here I will have for the rest of my life, and faces of people that I will never forget.
This woman is having a miscarriage.
Many women die of this.
This is emergency surgery.
She is bleeding heavily.
In remote Kenya.
We work under rather difficult conditions because we don't have lamps.
Dr. Diana Lardy's ER has no electricity, running water, or sterile operating rooms.
I think many medical people would be absolutely astounded at how much you can do with this plain brick building.
Every morning, dozens of patients line up for Dr. Lardy's expertise on everything from malaria to hippo bites.
That's true. We have had hippo bites. So now we'll go to high tech, and now we've got a bigger flashlight with a bigger light.
This 56-year-old CU grad traded a comfortable medical practice to work 16-hour days at Lalamba's medical clinic.
We just need to give her antibiotics, and we need to make sure that she doesn't continue to bleed.
Just as Dr. Lardy stops the bleeding in one patient,
she came in with bright red bleeding.
Another is waiting.
She has 5 children at home. Her husband has died. So that would be 5 more orphans.
But Dr. Lardy is confident this mother will live.
Sometimes people take all day to either walk here or come on a bicycle.
For the last 6 years, Dr. Lardy has been taking care of Africans.
What is locally?
She's also teaching them how to take care of themselves.
I love this work. I feel it's very important. When I sit at home in my comfortable life, I don't feel comfortable because I know how most of the world really is. I come back, I enjoy it, I feel like I'm doing something. It's a beautiful country, the people are incredible. It's just a great experience from almost any way you look at it.
Okay, and this is our laboratory. This is our newest building that we just opened about a year ago.
Marty Downey helped build this medical clinic, where hundreds of thousands of lives have been saved.
This is where they diagnose cholera, malaria, AIDS in this lab?
Yes, all the blood work is done here, urine, stool specimens.
And you have Kenyans doing the work?
Yes.
How many patients do you see a day?
Varies, sometimes only 40, but an average day could, it depends on the season, but average maybe 100, 130.
Once this former school teacher saw the great needs of Africans, she changed professions and became a nurse.
We actually reuse a lot of our gloves and our syringes and needles. They're very precious commodities in this part of the world.
This full-service medical facility on Lake Victoria not only helps people who are sick, but tries to keep the region healthy. With a fully stocked pharmacy, cholera treatment rooms, and regular nutrition programs for women and children.
And we teach them the proper nourishment that these babies actually need in order to grow healthy and strong. I'm not sure of the age, but the baby is severely dehydrated and malnourished. You could tell about how small the arms are.
For the women and children who cannot make the long journey to the clinic, Lalamba volunteers travel to them.
We're at the southernmost tip of the entire country of Kenya.
Hundreds of women bring their babies because they say this is the best care around.
Why is it the best one?
Because she has qualified people who are doing the right thing. They are treating children.
She checked the eyes and the ears, and she made sure the baby's not anemic.
For a couple of dollars, these children get the same vaccinations children do in the States.
It's part of our responsibility, I think, as an educated society, to bring that education, to try to train these people and teach these people so that they can take care of their own needs.
Marty's hope is these healthy babies will grow up and raise their own healthy children, using the knowledge this Colorado nurse brought from halfway around the world.
Little boys.
A far different world from Lutheran Hospital back in Colorado, where Marty works as a surgical nurse.
Can you hop up here for me?
Most of her patients have no idea about her double life.
We try to be humble about the work we do. Sometimes if you mention that you live and work in Africa, it's like, oh, that's nice. End of conversation.
That doesn't matter to Marty. What does bother her is the waste she witnesses every day in our country.
We're a land of disposable gloves, disposable syringes. In Africa, you have to reuse things.
Marty's husband refuses to waste a single African experience.
God never refuses humble love, and neither should we.
This retired Colorado Water District manager is now a deacon.
There is a message of acceptance, of accepting one another, of accepting others who aren't like us, or people that don't come at a convenient time in our lives.
He preaches what he practices in Colorado and in Africa, where he explains wealth is measured more in family and friends. What made you decide to do this?
You know what? It was one of those things that seemed natural. We did this in Eritrea. It worked really well there, and so we gave it a go here.
This one here is avocado.
Corinne is in business because of a $100 loan from Lalamba.
And I like business so much.
How does it help you and your family?
I'm eating very well. There's nothing I can fear. There's nothing I can fear.
In a country where polygamy and wife inheritance are part of the culture, the Lalamba Loan Program is empowering women for the first time.
Not a lot of women do this, but I think what we're able to do is show that the women can be just as successful as the men in starting small businesses, and it's really important because the women are the ones that really wind up caring for the children. So if a man is off fishing or whatnot in his business, it's still the responsibility of the woman to take care of the children.
Hugh and Marty also established the first lending library in the region. It's a busy place, especially during our stay. Kenyan teachers decided to strike.
What do the teachers want?
They want the money.
They want more money?
Yes.
Teachers in Kenya average about $25 a month.
I need education.
Why?
Because it may help me more when I will be big.
We found this child wandering around the local school. He lost both of his parents to AIDS. And who do you think is taking care of him?
Lamba people and my brother.
Why do they take care of you?
Because I was alone, and Lamba people do give me things like food, like maize flour, and school uniform and fees.
Do you have everything you need in life?
Yes.
Bob, who was named after one of the original Lalamba volunteers, has no idea he has everything he needs in life because of a promise a U.S. serviceman made 40 years ago to Lalamba's original orphans.
He was one of the first 10 Lalamba children.
Mohammed Ibrahim is the first orphan, who now at 47 years old still calls Hugh and Marty father and mother.
It's good, just like my father and mother.
This is the original group, now grown successful men and women. They are the fishermen, healthcare workers, farmers, and teachers Hugh and Marty Downey always knew they could be. And now they are helping Hugh and Marty convince another generation to believe in dreams. Children like George Owino, who hopes to take over for Hugh when he grows up.
You'll take his place?
Yeah, I will take his place.
Why?
Because if I get a job, good job, I can take care of the orphans like you.
Why do you want to do that?
I remember what he done for me.
Samuel wants to teach.
I can teach in secondary school. Yeah, children like me.
Lamone is currently the Downies' oldest child in their children's home in Kenya.
Why two people from Colorado come all the way to Africa to help you? Why?
Because there I can say it, they love us.
He too plans to carry on the Downies' legacy of love.
I would like my life to continue, to be successful, so that I help some people like my brothers and sisters. I start my organization like orphanage children's home, like them.
This 17-year-old feels he owes his life to Marty and Hugh Downey.
Without them, my life could have not been existing, because by that time, after my parents had died, my grandparents also had died, I was alone and I didn't know where I could have been now.
Marty and Hugh Downey remind us of not what one man or woman can accomplish, but what a couple can conquer together.
I think Marty and I are two of the richest people you'll ever meet. These are lifelong experiences that have enriched us beyond anyone's ability to understand.
Goodbye, goodbye. Listen to say goodbye to you.
It's a place the Africans call Lalamba, a place of hope that started with a promise to love orphans 40 years ago.
Goodbye to you. Goodbye, goodbye. Listen to say goodbye to you.
Marty and Hugh hope Lalamba's mission will continue at least another 40 years through donations and volunteerism.
He came to this land 40 years ago to love the children. Now his family is our family.
For the first time on television, News 4 takes you to a place few Coloradans will ever see.
I'm Stephanie Riggs in Kenya, Africa, to see the remarkable journey of how one Colorado couple turned a remote part of Eastern Africa into a place of hope for thousands of children.
A place of hope in Africa.
Tonight, only on News 4 at 10.